Every year, millions of gardeners watch their plants struggle, wilt, or die, wondering what went wrong. The truth is, most garden failures aren't caused by bad luck or lack of a green thumb, but by 7 common mistakes that are surprisingly easy to fix. Whether you're killing your tomatoes with kindness or wondering why your lettuce bolted before you could harvest it, today we're counting down the biggest gardening blunders that might be sabotaging your success. These simple changes could be the difference between a disappointing harvest and the garden of your dreams. Mistake number 7, planting at the wrong time. Picture this. You're so excited about spring that you plant your tomatoes in March, only to watch them turn black after the last frost hits in April. Sound familiar? Timing mistakes destroy more gardens than pests and diseases combined. Yet most gardeners keep making the same seasonal errors year after year. Here's why timing matters so much. Cool season crops like lettuce and peas actually prefer temperatures between 45 and 75 degrees, while warm season plants like tomatoes and peppers need consistent temperatures above 60 degrees to thrive. Plant them at the wrong time, and you're setting them up for failure before they even have a chance. The temperature shock from planting too early can stunt growth permanently, while planting too late means your crops won't have enough time to mature before the season ends. Your lettuce will bolt in summer heat, and your tomatoes won't ripen before the first fall frost. The fix is simpler than you think. Find your area's average last frost date online, then count backwards from there. Cool season crops can go in 2 to 4 weeks before that date, while warm season plants should wait until 2 weeks after. Mark these dates on your calendar and stick to them, even when you're feeling impatient. Mistake number 6, choosing the wrong location. What if I told you that moving your struggling plants just 3 feet could double your harvest? Location might seem like a simple decision, but it's actually the foundation that determines whether your garden thrives or barely survives. Most vegetables need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily to produce well. When plants don't get enough light, they become weak and leggy, stretching desperately toward the sun instead of developing strong stems and productive flowers. Shade-loving plants stuck in blazing sun will wilt and burn, while sun lovers tucked into shady corners will give you more leaves than food. But sunlight isn't the only factor. Poor drainage creates waterlogged soil that suffocates roots, while windy locations dry out plants faster than you can water them. Planting too close to large trees means your vegetables will compete with established root systems for water and nutrients, and they'll lose every time. Start by observing your yard throughout a full day. Note which areas get morning sun, afternoon sun, or stay shaded. Check how water drains after heavy rain, and notice where wind hits hardest. Then match your plants to the right spots. Tomatoes and peppers love that sunny, sheltered corner, while lettuce and spinach will appreciate morning sun with afternoon shade. Mistake number 5, ignoring your soil. Your plants are only as strong as the soil they're growing in, yet most gardeners treat dirt like an afterthought. They'll spend hundreds on plants and tools, but never test the foundation that feeds everything in their garden. Poor soil creates a domino effect of problems. When soil lacks organic matter, it can't hold water or nutrients properly, leaving your plants constantly thirsty and hungry. Compacted soil prevents roots from spreading, while soil that's too acidic or alkaline locks up nutrients even when they're present. Plants growing in depleted soil become stressed, making them magnets for pests and diseases. Clay soil drowns roots by holding too much water, while sandy soil drains so fast that nutrients wash away before plants can use them. Without the right pH balance, your plants literally can't access the food that's sitting right there in the soil. The solution starts with a simple soil test kit from any garden centre. Test your pH and nutrient levels, then improve what you've got. Add compost to any soil type to improve structure and fertility. For clay soil, mix in coarse sand or perlite to improve drainage. For sandy soil, work in compost and peat moss to help retain moisture. Adjust pH with lime to raise it or sulfur to lower it, following package directions carefully. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these mistakes you've made in your own garden. I'd love to hear your stories. Mistake number 4, watering wrong. Watering seems foolproof until you realize that more plants die from drowning than drought. The biggest misconception is that plants need water every day, But the truth is that how you water matters far more than how often you water. Overwatering kills roots by cutting off their oxygen supply, creating the perfect conditions for root rot and fungal diseases. Those yellow, wilting leaves you're seeing might not mean your plant needs more water. They could be crying for help because their roots are literally suffocating. On the flip side, frequent shallow watering creates weak, surface roots that can't handle any stress. Light daily sprinkling trains roots to stay near the surface instead of growing deep and strong. When heat or dry spells hit, these shallow-rooted plants have no reserves to draw from. Watering leaves during hot sunny days can actually burn your plants as water droplets act like tiny magnifying glasses. Here's the right approach. Water deeply but less frequently. Stick your finger 2 inches into the soil and only water when it feels dry at that depth. Water early in the morning to reduce evaporation and disease risk. Focus water at the base of plants, not on the leaves. Give each plant a slow, thorough drink that penetrates 6 to 8 inches deep, then let the soil dry out before watering again. Mistake number 3, overcrowding plants. When you're looking at tiny seedlings, it's tempting to squeeze just one more plant into that empty space. But those innocent little transplants have big plans, and overcrowding is like forcing 10 people to live in a studio apartment. Cramped plants compete fiercely for sunlight, water, and nutrients. The stronger plants hog resources, while weaker ones struggle and eventually fail. Poor air circulation between crowded plants creates humid microclimates where fungal diseases thrive. You'll start seeing powdery mildew, blight, and other problems that spread rapidly through your packed garden beds. Overcrowded plants also grow tall and spindly as they stretch toward light, making them weak and prone to falling over. Your tomatoes might grow 6 feet tall but produce tiny, sparse fruit because all their energy went into competing for space instead of developing properly. The spacing guidelines on seed packets aren't suggestions, they're requirements for healthy growth. That tomato plant really does need 3 feet between neighbours, even though it looks ridiculous when you first plant it. Use the square foot gardening method to maximise space efficiently, or try vertical growing with trellises and hanging baskets. If you've already overcrowded, thin ruthlessly by removing the weakest plants. It feels harsh, but the survivors will reward you with better growth and bigger harvests. Mistake number 2, skipping garden maintenance. Gardens aren't houseplants that you can ignore for weeks at a time. Think of your garden like a pet that needs daily attention, because neglect always catches up with you in the worst possible ways. Weeds don't take breaks, and every day you delay gives them more time to establish deep roots and steal resources from your vegetables. Those innocent-looking seedlings can turn into resource-hogging monsters that choke out your carefully planted crops. Pests multiply exponentially when left unchecked, turning a minor aphid problem into a full-scale infestation that can destroy weeks of growth in just days. Unpruned plants waste energy on unnecessary growth instead of focusing on fruit production. Dead flowers left on plants signal them to stop producing new blooms, cutting your harvest short. Diseased leaves spread problems throughout your garden when they're not removed quickly. Create a simple 5-minute daily routine that prevents disasters. Walk through your garden each morning with your coffee, pulling any weeds you spot while they're still small. Pinch off spent flowers to encourage more blooms. Remove any yellowing or diseased leaves immediately. Check for pest problems early when they're still manageable. Harvest regularly to keep plants producing. These small daily actions add up to dramatically better results than weekend marathon sessions. Mistake number 1, starting too big. The biggest garden killer isn't pests or disease, it's ambition. New gardeners get so excited that they plan massive gardens with dozens of different vegetables, only to feel completely overwhelmed by July when everything needs attention at once. Starting too big creates a cascade of problems that doom even the most enthusiastic gardeners. You can't properly care for 20 different types of plants when you're still learning how each one grows. Watering becomes a chore that takes hours, weeding feels impossible, and pest problems spiral out of control because you can't monitor everything effectively. The garden that was supposed to bring joy becomes a source of stress and guilt. Most failed gardeners don't quit because they lack skill. They quit because they took on more than they could realistically handle. When plants start dying from neglect, it feels like personal failure, rather than a simple case of overcommitment. Start with just 4 to 6 types of easy vegetables like lettuce, radishes, beans and tomatoes in a small 4x4 foot space. Master these basics before expanding. Focus on learning how plants grow, what problems to watch for, and how much time garden care actually takes. Success with a small garden builds confidence and skills that make larger gardens possible. You can always expand next season, but you can't undo the frustration of an overwhelming first attempt. These 7 fixes can transform your garden from frustrating to flourishing in just one growing season. The best part is that most of these solutions cost nothing but a little planning and patience, yet they'll save you money, time, and countless dead plants. If you're ready to take your gardening to the next level, check out this video I've got waiting for you next.